7:02, and we are starting Rules and Public Policy. All members are in attendance, so we do have our quorum. So you all should have a copy of the packet in front of you. Now, I have minutes for February and March, but not for April.
I just sent April's, I'm sorry. I literally been doing manual labor today.
I understand.
Was not at the
So
desk.
we'll take April 13 off in the interest of time. Were there any notes or corrections from February or March?
Not for me.
Hello.
This is for you, when you're ready to talk about that.
All right, without objection, we'll go ahead and approve the previous meeting minutes. Any issues with the agenda?
No, ma'am. It's a lot on there.
Yep.
That goes with the trend.
All right, without objection, we'll approve the agenda. There's one member of the audience. Do you have anything to share with the committee?
Oh, not at this point.
All right, so there's no public comment. Okay, now let us dive in to the meat of the meeting. So this was introduced in the April meeting. The first item on the discussion is the proposed ordinance for the municipal policy prohibiting payment of cyber ransom demands. And just to kind of refresh our memory, Ms. Dukes-Dean, can you kind of give us where the origin and where did this come from?
Yes, and the printout that I just provided actually denotes where our Ohio Revised Code sits on that. There was some kind of conversation around when we're in a ransomware incident, what the law requires. And so we need to align our legislation up with the Ohio Revised Code. So you all already have the legislation. This kind of just adds as another support for why we need to do it, and that what I provided per Bill Dieters is specifically what is needed to be stated in the legislation.
Okay, thank you. For the audience who is viewing online and our guest who is here, it says ORC 9.64E requires that a political subdivision may not pay or comply with a ransomware demand unless its legislative authority formally approves the action and documents why it is in the subdivision's best interest. So that is where this legislation came from.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is there a need to bring us all back to where this started?
I personally don't feel like, I mean, I did some homework in between the meetings. Of course, I missed the last meeting as I was out of town. But I've, tried to educate myself on the topic anyway, in the meantime. And I personally don't need any further background information. I don't know if anyone else on the committee needs any further background information.
I just want,
President.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to remind us all that this did begin in September of last year, and that as a part of my reports, September, October, November, and December, I reported on our engaging and getting into contracts with the company Opvium, who was then and is still in the process of walking us through every step that's necessary to get us in compliance with HB 96. So this is the first piece of legislation that comes through, or resolution, or whatever the proper terminology is going to be, followed, but we still have other steps, i.e. An incident response plan that we will be adopting, and all of these things that will just bring us in compliance with what was passed in September of last year, The auditor of the state did give a mandate that it was supposed to be in compliance by the end of September. However, even in that process, he knew that municipalities would not be in compliance in 30 days, but it was that mandate that put the urgency for all municipalities.
Got it, okay.
Madam-
So the one thing hang on, I hear you, I'll get to you in just one second. So the one thing I would have to say, because you know how I am about legislation, perhaps we could add a whereas to kind of, this is just to tie it back to compliance with HB 96 or ORC. I also, on the fourth whereas, the Council of the City of North College Hill finds it to be in the best interest of the city and its residents to establish a clear policy prohibiting the payment of ransom or extortion demands related to cyber attacks. And I think we ought to amend this to say, to align with the ORC, where it says unless its legislative authority formally approves the action and documents why it is. Otherwise, we're painted into a corner. So unless the committee has any objection to where it's appropriate to put in here, unless the legislative authority formally approves the action and documents why, just so the language aligns with what the handout you just gave us.
Madam
Are there any
Chair.
other, Ms. Dixon was next, and then I think Ms. Chichester, did you ask? No, Ms. Chichester after you.
I was just going to say that initially, actually, when the piece of legislation was circulated, the amendment to ORC had not been finalized. So I do think that that would be appropriate to add that, but it initially wasn't a part of that. And the reason that I kind of provided this, so just so you know, this is Ohio laws and administrative rules. However, this summary is just, it's not connected on that page. You actually would have to go to that Ohio Revised Code 9.64E to actually read it in detail, where it does talk about the incident that Ms. Shiva Stevens not discussed. And the reason that I kind of created this cheat sheet was based on last time the conversation was around, presenting this legislation doesn't necessarily prohibit a group of people from coming to request ransomware, and also the conversation around, getting an expert in to kind of guide us in this. I think that this kind of gives you the foundation that you need to be comfortable with moving the piece of legislation over to council floor and quickly. And then I also wanted to just quickly denote that I did send it over to Bill Dieters, and then he was doing his discovery, and we didn't get it back until I sent it over to you all. So that was our delay from September to now. So whenever you all got it was when I got it within that week.
Okay, thank you very much. And I do remember you forwarded me that email communication, just so we're all in the loop. Thank you. So if I can take a homework item to, you have this, did you get this to me in Word format?
Yeah, I did.
Because this is still draft. This is still a working copy. So I can take that on to work with Mr. Dieters to get the language aligned with ORC. Just like I said, I'm always thinking about our future selves. And somebody's going to come along and say, why did we do this? And so now we'll know why, because it'll be documented in the legislation. Does anyone on the committee have any issue with that?
Nope, I do not.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Chichester.
can you do me a favor for the notes? Can you repeat what you wanted the fourth whereas to say?
I wanted it to include the language that, on the handout that we just received, where it says, may not pay or comply with a ransomware demand, and then the language says, unless its legislative authority, et cetera, that was on the top part of the handout there.
Okay, this.
Yes.
The bolded part.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. I can do that.
I will not make it overly complicated, but at least it gives us a frame of reference when we're looking at this down the road to know where it came from and why we did it.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I am re-forwarding you the Word document so it comes fresh up in your email. And the original date of send was March 18th.
Thank you. Okay, anything else about this particular piece of legislation? I'll revise it. Is there any objection to moving this to council floor with the notations that I just talked about? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move that to the council floor. All right, moving right along. So the next one also is an item from originally discussed in the April meeting very briefly. I understand we spent a lot of time on other topics. This one I remember was very briefly discussed. And just again, to refresh our memories, could we explain where the origin of this legislation? Because I did not work with Dieters to draft this, so I'm wanting to know
Who brought it forward?
who brought it, where did this come from?
I'm sorry, are we
It's
on
the
B?
tax obligation.
Oh, okay.
We're on 1B.
So we sent, I'm sorry, Madam.
You can go ahead. Yeah, that's fine.
So, per Rita kind of talking to us about, what most municipalities do, we sent over a piece of just kind of that information over to Dieters, and he drafted this legislation for us.
So this originated, this idea to do this came from Rita, and what was their rationale for?
I'll
I
let
mean,
Ms.
I know my-
Stevens not talk, because she
Okay.
talks to them on a
Thank you.
regular, whereas I don't.
Madam Chair?
Mm-hmm.
So one of Rita's, one thing that comes up in the times that you're meeting with them is best practices as it relates to making sure that you are aware of all possible spaces that you can garner or capture revenue for your city. And so one of the one option is making sure that every business that does business in your city is registering. So you have a list of knowing who it is that you should be going after for wage taxes or earnings taxes. So they suggested an option of, adding that component to permit requests. Another thing was about recognizing that the fiduciary agents of your municipality have an opportunity to be allies in making sure that your residents and those who work in your city are compliant in earnings tax payments. And so in order for your council, your trustees or whomever to be allies, the idea being that they should probably be current in their station also, as they are being allies of the fiduciaries, to make sure that your municipality is capturing every possible place for earnings taxes and revenue. So that's one of the couple other places also, kind of driving around, pay attention to how long your food trucks are in your city. Have you checked and made sure that they are registered? Are you getting their payrolls? For those that are doing construction in your city, how long are they doing construction in your city? Are you getting copies of their payroll to ensure that you're getting your earnings taxes? So these is all simply best practices that Rita is offering to us to make sure that as a city, we are capturing all of possible places to get our revenue.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for that, Mrs. Stevens-Knott. However, this says it's an ordinance requiring candidates for elected office only. So this only speaks to those who are in an elected position. I like how you gave a very great example, a thorough example of why, but this piece of legislation does not speak to that. And I believe that in our last committee meeting, we talked about having it to include city employees across the entire board. So I'm hoping that there has been a little bit of thought on that and that we can add that in. However, this is just speaking to those who are elected, those who are, not even those who are appointed. It says elected, right? So that also becomes problematic. So you
Madam
want to
Chair?
provide insight?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair?
who was,
She was not. first,
okay,
and then
yes.
me.
Well, yes, go ahead, and then I had a remark to make, and then you.
So I would like to say, as it relates to employees, as we process payroll, they pay taxes. It is not possible to be an employee of the city of North College Hill and not pay taxes.
Unless they
To the
had
city
another
of North
job
College.
outside of-
Yeah.
It is impossible to work for the city of North College Hill and not pay North College Hill taxes.
So what if I worked for the city of North College Hill and I also worked for Blue Ash Printing?
That's Blue Ash. Well, actually, Blue Ash, I don't even think they have an earnings tax, but the city of North College Hill
Forest
has an earnings tax that every person who earns any dollars in the city of North College Hill must pay 1.5% to the city of North College Hill,
Madam
irregardless
Chair.
of where else, all dollars earned here in the city of North College Hill, they must pay 1.5%.
So I'll-
And then they have to
I'll-
file.
And well, if you don't live here, you don't have to file. Because we have several employees here who do not live in North College Hill. They simply work for North College Hill, so they pay an earnings tax. Now, for us who live here, we pay our taxes for if we live here and we work here, we pay our earnings tax, and we have to file. If we live here and do not work here, then we ask our employer, hey, would you please withhold 1.5% so I can be paying all year long? They're not obligated, and then we have to file as the fact that we live in North College Hill.
So,
That's my
I'll let
point.
Miss, hold on just one
Okay.
second. I get what you're saying, I get where you're going with that.
Okay.
Let me allow Ms. Chichester to have a chance to speak.
You had a comment first before you wanted me to speak.
Oh, okay. So I think what this is, and we had something similar when I was on the board of directors at my daughter's school. You couldn't be behind in your tuition and be on the board of directors. So it's just a matter of ethics, I think, really. If you're asking other people to support your city, how can you be part of the problem, if we're having an issue with revenue? So if you're in a fiduciary role. So that's, in terms of what they do outside of the box, that's North College Hill. We don't govern that. That doesn't affect our revenue, and it doesn't affect our leadership team here and people who work here and the resources that we're trying to provide for the city here. So it's not like we're going to police what they pay everywhere else. But being in a leadership position at the city of North College Hill and then being behind, it kind of creates a conflict. And so we had a similar process when I was on the board of directors at my daughter's school. Board of directors, you had to be current on your tuition. And so anyway, I'll let Ms. Chichester go next.
Yes. So I do agree, you should say appointed/elected officials. And I do agree with what Ms. Claire said. Can you be a good steward in voting on issues in your community if you're not up to par on your taxes? Being that example, we always say we're setting the example for the citizens of our city. And I also know for a fact that if you work outside, you can ask your employer to hold that 1.5. So you can do it as you're holding multiple jobs. You can be a good steward if you live in North College Hill to say, hey, I work here and inside North College Hill and outside North College Hill, please hold this for my taxes. Or you could just file it at the end of the year and see if you break even or if you owe a little more.
Madam
Madam
President.
Chair.
Madam.
I'm trying to think who hasn't really had a chance. You
Ms.
spoke
Kirsten.
on
She's
this.
welcome.
Everybody spoke once. Ms. Dickstein.
I was just going to say that if you say appointment, in general, I fall under that, but I'm an
Should.
employee, so I am current.
Yeah.
So that's not really about me. That's actually about the committees. The
The
commissions.
So
So
Yes.
I
it
think-
should.
the only thing I can tell you is that's sticky.
So
Madam
I
Chair.
think it says holding
Yes.
elected office, not that
Works
you
better.
were elected necessarily. You could have been appointed
But it's a-
to an elected office that you now hold. Therefore, you
that's
are
the-
holding
Oh, fair.
elected office.
That's in the third whereas, the first
That's-
whereas says elected, but yes, I
It's
agree with the
yeah,
language in the
it's in the
third.
first one too, whereas the city North Collegeville finds individuals seeking elected office and holding elected office should demonstrate compliance with same.
The second should match the other one.
Yeah, well, yeah, or holding. Kind of permit,
I think seeking
elected-
and or holding elected
officials.
office.
Oh, there,
within
I
the
see in the
city.
second one, yeah, we need to make sure it's there too.
Yes. So I think changing the verbiage on the second whereas to match the third whereas.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Curitan?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. A couple of things here that we have on the second page. I just wanted to go back a quick step and confirm, Ms. Dusting, you said that Mr. Dieters, he drafted this legislation? Okay, and so I'm not sure why he would want the city administrator now or in the future to govern this. It says, number one, under the requirements for elected officials, the city administrator shall provide written notice to the official. And then under the non-compliance section, it says the city administrator shall provide written notice of delinquencies to the elected official. And then there's also another statement that says upon completion of the review, meaning that the city administrator will do a review of some sort. The city administrator shall provide written confirmation of compliance to the clerk of council. I feel like that's a little bit egregious because the city administrator does not govern council. He or she does not govern an elected official. I believe that's more of an appropriate role for the president of the council if in fact this is a piece of legislation we do want to move forward with. But this is not something that our city administrator now or in the future, they don't govern council.
Madam President?
Madam
I was
President.
like,
Madam
Chair.
President, I think I was next in line.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, couple of things. So I'm going to go back to the whole Blue Ash printing thing. So an employee could potentially work for the city, have a second job at Blue Ash, and I'm making up I don't even know if there's a company named Blue Ash Printing, but they could potentially work for Blue Ash Printing. Blue Ash Printing doesn't deduct the money because I work for a pediatric hospital, and they've just in the last 3 years started deducting. So even big entities don't always do that. So we know little ones don't either. My point in saying that is they could potentially have that income, live in North College Hill, and not be current on their income revenue.
No, ma'am.
Yes, they could.
No, because they have to file on April 15th. So that's where you would, now, that's
Okay,
the
so,
non-compliance.
All right, so let's talk
Yeah.
about let's talk about that, because to me, current means because Rita anticipates or expects quarterly. Quarterly is current, according to Rita. So let's say the individual working for Blue Ash Printing only files at the end of the year on April 15th. So are you now saying that April 15th is now current? Because according to Rita standards, that's not. Quarterly is current.
So I would say, I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay,
You
I
can
would
answer.
say that Rita doesn't know what they don't know. And so the spirit of this is not a quarterly reconciliation.
But it doesn't say that.
And I don't disagree that there's some pieces of language that need to be amended.
There's
So I
some
don't disagree
nuances
with
that
that.
aren't covered in this.
That is correct. Not recognizing that, again, Rita doesn't know what they don't know. The reporting and the estimates are based on historical data. So the assumption in Q2 of 2026 is that you will earn the same thing that you did in Q2 in 2025.
Right.
And so when they do but they don't send you anything during the year. No, they don't go, hey, we didn't get anything from you. They wait until filing time, and that's when everything gets reconciled. Because even as an entity, some entities, Blue Ash might be too small, and they might be able to file earnings tax annually. Like the city of Cincinnati, I file annually. I don't pay them quarterly for the people who live in Cincinnati and work here. I pay them annually because they're like, they don't reconcile until the end of the year. Cheviot, you can pay them every pay, but they don't reconcile to the end of the year. So each municipality has their own timing as it relates to that. So I don't disagree that there are some nuances that we can address with the language. But the spirit remains the same. And no one's going after anybody on June about what didn't happen in April. That would be labor intensive and would defeat the purpose.
And I hear you. I'll take a guess and say you're not going to work here forever. So the next people in line might see it differently unless it's in this document.
I don't disagree.
So we'll go ahead and
Madam-
make sure
So
that the
hang-
language is
I
more
do have
clear.
one more
Okay.
comment I want to make. So, Ms. Curitan kind of walked down this path a little bit. The whole city administrator monitoring this, or I don't even know, officiating over this. I have strong objections to that because the city administrator, no matter who's, forgive me the phrase, whoever's butts in the seat, should not be involved in my or anyone's personal finances. So to me, that should never be in there. That should be whoever's holding the reins should maintain the reins and not pass the reins off to someone else.
Madam
Madam President, or Madam Chair.
I was next.
Would you like her to address your concern before we move on to the next person?
Oh, it doesn't, my opinion won't change, so it doesn't matter.
Gotcha, okay. So,
I was
I know
actually
that
going to
you-
agree with
I
you.
was next.
Okay.
Just because of, so I will say that there's some nuances. This definitely feels like an attorney's view on who should have access to information and believing that that position would be the custodian of that information, and that is an incorrect idea, because actually there's nobody in that office but me who has access to our tax information.
And that's
It
what it
is,
should be.
and it is very sealed. And there's about 4 people in this building that will tell you it's very sealed. So I don't disagree that language probably needs to change.
okay, and Ms. Chichester, and I believe Keratin was after that, and then we'll wrap this up with action items that we can take between now and the next meeting. But go ahead, Ms. Chichester.
I was going to ask one who is the gatekeeper at this time, and it's the finance manager. So if we could change the language to finance manager, just because as we're all colleagues, I don't know if we want the president of council having access to your to your personal information, income
I didn't
guidelines.
recommend that.
No, I was just saying, you probably would agree with me on that matter, that
I want the
the new
finance.
finance manager would
That's
be
it.
the, so we all agree on that portion
Yeah.
of
Okay.
that. So we'll make those amendments, and I was gonna make another point.
Madam Chair.
Just one second, so she'll be her, and then
Nope,
you.
that's it. I lost my other thought process, but as long as we are all agreeing to finance manager, then that's fine. I'm gonna make that
Okay,
note.
Ms. Keratin?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. There is also another clause in here that is very problematic, and it states, failure to cure the delinquencies may constitute nonfeasance or misfeasance in office and may subject the individual to removal pursuant of Ohio law. The parties who work for the city did not elect those who are here at council. I find that extremely problematic. And so I would actually recommend that we strike that.
For clarity, you are talking about page 3
I
under
am,
section
yes,
5.
Yes. Page 3, section 5, the final sentence. Failure to cure the delinquencies may constitute nonfeasance or misfeasance in office and may subject the individual to removal pursuant to Ohio law.
Well, it says may, not shall. But
Even
that
the
again
thoughts,
is,
The thought of someone who works for the city having any kind of authoritative power to remove someone who sits as an elected official is extremely problematic.
Madam Chair?
What is the law? What is the
I was about to say,
ORC?
yeah, that was going to be my takeaway, was
Sorry.
to research
Yeah. 'cause I
some
was like,
clarity around that.
I
Because
read that to
know
say we
that-
don't do it. I read that to
No.
say we provide information that then allows the governing body to make a
to
decision.
go through its disciplinary process.
Not written that way.
Right, so yes, so we will clarify. Okay. All righty. Got some homework on this one too. All right. So again, these two pieces of legislation, they're complex. This one in particular is complex. It's probably, Rome wasn't built in a day. but taking these steps forward, you know, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support the city,
Madam Chair.
in this process. So, one more on this, and then I'm gonna take this action item. I'll work with Ms. Stevens-Knott and Mr. Dieters to get it cleaned up and amended. We'll talk about it again in June before it goes to council floor.
I was just gonna say that actually the RETA quarterly is best practices. You're compliant on an annual basis per the Ohio Revised Code. In the state of Ohio, you have to pay your taxes at least once a year or rectify your taxes. So the quarterly is a best practices, not an actual requirement. And then the non-filer piece of legislation that we passed, so if you were to have somebody in the position that Mary Jo was speaking to, that would be, I'm sorry?
Ms. Zorb, please.
Oh, Ms. Zorb, that Ms. Zorb was speaking to, that would be relative to this. You have to file your taxes, and those go in correlation with your regular taxes. And then the piece of legislation, the reference was, I find it hard to believe that the law director made the city administrator. I didn't give him any recommendations on this. Humbly, I would submit to you that he did this, again, in the spirit of what he thought was appropriate. And I agree that it would not be me, that it would be our tax representative. And I said that when we initially talked about this piece of legislation, that he put this in here just in error in his own thought process. And with that, I think I just want to keep in mind that these pieces of legislation are given over to the committees for the purpose of changing all of the nuances that are not accurate or applicable to this group in our city.
Okay, are there any other comments on this one? Okay,
Ms.
all right, so
Madam
we,
Chair?
oh, yes?
Just clarification, restate, we're going to revisit this one again in June.
Yes,
And then we'll make the edits and do the homework on it, and we'll talk about it again.
yeah, I'll do my homework in between meetings.
I'm just
And
asking
then,
for.
yeah, and we'll have this, another draft of this ready for this committee in June to look at.
Mhm.
That sound cool with everybody?
Mhm.
All right.
Plan.
Making a note to myself. Okay. All right, so we're going to switch gears. Another item that was discussed in the April meeting that we're carrying forward was the generative AI, and what does that mean, and what does it, you know, there were a lot of questions. I did watch the meeting. There were a lot of questions around defining generative AI and just trying to get our heads around what does this mean in terms of doing our jobs here at the city. So with that in mind, I had benchmarked a couple of cities that have implemented an acceptable use of AI policy. And it may be out of order in your packets, and if so, I apologize. But there is the first example is a resolution, City of Inglewood in Montgomery County. And I found the resolution where they were adopting the citywide guidelines, and I could not find their actual policy online, so I did reach out to them, but the person who manages this was not available at that time. This was a last-minute thing I was doing this week, so I'm going to give them grace on that. I'm not trying to say throw Englewood under the bus. I'm just saying I threw this at them at the last minute. So, but that said, I did also reach out to Grove City, also in Ohio. Whenever I benchmark, I'm always looking at Ohio cities. That way, you know, hopefully they're at least close to compliant in Ohio. But the person who I worked with at Grove City was very accommodating, and So they have an acceptable use of AI policy that was an administrative order of the city administrator. Now, they have a council administrator government. They don't have like council mayor. So, so they have, so he was very forthcoming. I really like how this is structured, but I know that we have an AI policy in the handbook. So where I'm going with this, I'm saying a lot of words to say this. It also, this sits, he said, it was an offshoot of their acceptable use of city assets policy and data classification and handling policy. So they have two other policies that kind of feed into this. So if you're saying things like you can't use certain things that are a significant risk to data privacy, okay, well, what does that mean? So they actually have a policy that defines these specific types of public records are public and publicly accessible. That's the most open. They have, and I didn't bring that with me because it's a very long policy, but I do have them digitally. He gave them to me right away. He's like, not a problem. And then the second level is like, it's public record. We can give it to you, but it's not necessarily self-serve, you know. Then there's other things that's more restrictive, you know. So things like, I'm going to use an example of like an automobile accident report, right? That is a public record, but there's certain things that may need to be redacted. So that would be like a level 3, you know. So they had a whole big process for that, and I was actually going to forward that to city administration because, and I can forward it to all of council too. The policies are very well thought out and mature. We don't have any legislation pending around this, but I think it's definitely something that we need to keep our eye on this ball. And one of the things that I can't remember if I sent it out to all of council or just this committee now that I'm thinking this through, but there was, I'm also a student, part-time student at Northern Kentucky University, and they recently released a acceptable use of AI for research and for school papers. And if you can't beat them, join them, right? So they have, when used well, it could be an extremely valuable tool to help synthesize data and help you kind of get things organized. But yet there has to be some ethical use around it. So the idea is, and if you looked at the email that I sent, there's a little link. It's maybe like, if you go through it, it's like a 5 to 8 minutes. It's got a great video, a couple videos in it, but it basically explains, here's what AI is, and here's how you can use it ethically. And it was by the Northern Kentucky University Library. So I've said all that to say this. I know that it can be a good tool for those of us who are working on policy and working on implementing things to help us kind of frame what this should look like. However, in the spirit of being ethical about it, we should disclose, because generative AI is original content. It is not your content. It is something that other sources have come together and put together for you. So in a manner of disclosing when we've used AI to help us, I think is something that other cities are putting in place, and just the disclosure. You know, this was sourced, and we're going to get to that in just a minute here, but with the help of AI, and that's okay. You know, just not trying to pass something off that you, you know, that I came up with this myself, you know. No, you didn't. So I'm not that smart. I know that much. But so that's one piece of it, just disclosing it, using it ethically, not putting in confidential city information. The second thing that they have on here that I thought was very interesting is which tools can be used. And the city of North College Hill does license Microsoft, and it does have a Copilot tool, and that is a generative AI tool. And one thing that I had a question about for administration while I was thinking this through is, I remember if I remember from when I read the IT audit, that our licensing needed, there's different types of licensing we can get based on how risky whether you need additional security controls in place for that particular individual. Has that moved forward at all? Have we looked at the different licensing structures to see, because if we have our internal tool, with a different licensing structure can be a little bit more contained, than just the basic.
Yeah.
So
Madam
if
Chair.
you want to address that, I don't know which one of you wants to address that
We
question.
just actually talked about that today, and so, yes, we have not moved forward, but we are moving forward,
And
so.
I know there would be a cost with that, because
Yes.
the licensing tiers, I'm sure it's not going to be a free-for-all. All 80 people aren't going to get a premium license, right? So I didn't know if that was not, something you guys
Yes,
were
we're
already
moving.
exploring.
We are moving forward. Have we solidified how we're going to move forward just yet? No. So yes, it's in the works. We're meeting. We're talking about what that looks like, the who would get what.
Okay. So, but at this point, there's no legislative action needed of council, but I think it would behoove council to at least educate ourselves on this emerging technology. And we don't have to be experts at it. We just have to kind of understand when you're using it versus when you're not, and just be transparent about it when you are.
From an HR perspective, our employees sign the handbook that they've read it, received it, and that's a requirement on an annual basis. That is a legally binding contract.
Right.
So.
Well, handbooks are not contracts.
No,
Yes.
you're right. Not a contract, but
We
it
need
is
to-
a
yeah.
legally binding document, I should say.
Gotcha. Yeah, an acknowledgement. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Handbooks. No, don't say a handbook is a contract.
Fair.
No.
Fair.
Yeah. So, but in terms of like when we're ready, if there's something that council needs to endorse or any kind of legislation that we need to get on the books, that'll be a logical next step. Or if there's additional licensing that's over and above what we budgeted for, I'm sure that would go through budget and finance for that piece of it. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. This was more or less just getting this out there because it was a takeaway from the last meeting that we had. Does anybody have any questions? Did you take the thing? We
Yes,
talked about it the other day.
We did, Madam Chair. I do believe that there can be parameters wrapped around it. However, I do believe when it's used appropriately, it's a huge asset. And I realize that other cities are already ahead using it. Other cities are already ahead with their policies and procedures. We're a little bit behind, so it's time for us to kind of catch up.
Not too far behind. It was
Not
just
too far
January when this came out.
Yeah, but still, some cities already had policies in place before it became legislative. And I think that we have the technology, why not tap into it fully? So if we can maybe, I'm sure you'll do your homework appropriately. However, I think that, I'm glad you asked me, because what was the original reason this came up beyond just your presentation last time, Ms. Dukestein? Your, I think, augmented intelligence, you actually suggested that it was not good to move forward with it. I think that's where this was birthed from. Maybe you can just reiterate what your augmented intelligence use of AI versus what is actually artificial intelligence. And maybe I can have an understanding, because this conversation, I feel like we're going around and around. Ms. Clear's going to do some homework on it.
I think what I was advocating for is that we all at least try to get a basic understanding of
For sure.
what it is this means.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I wasn't discouraging the use. I was actually encouraging that we use it in an ethical way. Actually, the handbook went into effect January 1st, 2026, which addressed the employees. It left a gap for you all. And so I wanted to make sure that you all instituted some kind of rule system for yourselves
Sure.
in your handbook, because there's an insurance part of this.
Sounds good.
If something were to come up, then you want to make sure that our city insurance covers you as well. Having this in place will do that. Not having something in place leaves you subject to
Fair.
liabilities.
Fair, thank you.
Okay, so there's not really an action item for this
Guess not,
except to educate ourselves. We'll revisit this potentially in terms of council rules. And we've got a couple of things on the agenda. That's a nice little segue here. Potentially for council rules concerning our own use of not only of generative AI, but also city assets. city resources, city systems, how we handle city data, that are, I think we could have some policy around us internally. So what we may, I'm trying to think this through because I know we don't want to have a bunch of meetings, but we're also getting into summer session. So I might be reaching out to schedule a special meeting just to kind of go through some of these things that will touch council rules specifically, because that's internal to us. I might be just a couple, and maybe an hour or so just to kind of go through some of the things like the AI policy, use of assets, and also the next piece of paper on the list here. But Ms. Curitin, go ahead.
No, actually, I was just going to say, I also recommend, since we're kind of crossing territories between council and the city, I highly recommend that Ms. Clear, if you feel comfortable sending over to Ms. Duxstein the learning module that you have from NKU. I think that would be super helpful for them to also learn, read, and maybe have a little bit further insight on. It was very, very helpful.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. And I want to say I did copy you guys on it, but maybe I can't remember.
I watched it.
Okay, you did. Okay. Yeah, and I did, just for full disclosure, I did reach out to NKU's education outreach department at the library and said, hey, do you mind if I share this with my council? They're like, by all means, the more the merrier. So they had no issue at all with me. It's publicly available on their website anyway, so
Excellent.
they had no issue with me sending that to you all to take a look at.
Madam Chair,
Yes, one more on this. Yeah.
I was just going to add that summer session doesn't change your meeting cadence for committee meetings, so you still have same meeting
Right, but it
times.
might be 5 or 6 weeks or 4 weeks between when my meeting happens and the next council meeting. It might be a long time. So I'm like, I don't want to have this kind of delay, these kinds of things. We just need to get through some of this backlog too, because this is really good discussion that we're having on these topics, and I think it's necessary to drill in. But it's time consuming, and I think if we just set aside an hour and a half, maybe just with this committee, just do a working session and kind of plow through some of this to get it caught up. That'll help us stay caught up moving forward with our agendas here, because we've got a lot of very detailed conversations. So the next thing I did want to talk about, this was referred to committee. Does anyone else have any comments about AI before we move on? No? Okay, perfect. All right, so the next item on here, and we only have about 10-ish minutes left before the next meeting, and I wanted to at least get this on our radar screen. This is probably something we're going to talk about if I schedule a special meeting. But our policy regarding tardiness at council meetings and committee meetings, all the research that I had done indicated that it can be considered a breach of decorum, especially if it's excessive. So that is something that we need to look at internally in this committee. And as an example here of a real-world disclosure that I used, the City of North College Hill Copilot to help consolidate and just come up with some suggested policy points that we might consider for addressing excessive and recurring tardiness, procedure and consequences. So you see the exact prompt, what date I did it, and what tool that I used, and it's just a example of how, because like I said, I'm not this smart to glean all this information and come up with all this myself. So this is an example. This is something for us to start with. I'm not trying to suggest that this is the end game, but it gives us some topics to discuss as a committee. Does anyone have any questions about leaving the AI piece of it to the side? Anything that we might want to carry forward in our continued discussions about tardiness at council meetings? This is 3 or 4 months old now at this point that we haven't had a chance to get to. Any comments or questions?
My only comment would be I'd like to implement something soon, because like you said, this is dragged on, and I'd like to get something implemented very soon.
Okay.
And Madam Chair?
Yes.
I do agree that we most certainly need something. I want to go to number 3, where it says 3 or more late arrivals of more than 5 minutes. I think that's indicating we're offering a grace period. We start promptly at the top of the hour, not 7:05 or thereafter. So I'm not sure I agree with that as being excessive, especially if its third bullet point disrupts the meeting, a pattern of tardiness that disrupts the quorum or meeting flow. I think anytime we have started our meeting for our constituents and we are not here and we arrive late, any of us, that does interrupt the flow of the meeting. So maybe we want to tighten down on the 3 minutes or more of 3 or more times 5 minutes, and the 2 or more 15 minutes, if that being excessive. So let's define excessive.
Right, right. And this is, for people's viewing pleasure, this is within a rolling 6-month period. But any of these situations may occur. If you guys want to take this and kind of chew on it, work through some scenarios in your head.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
One more thing I wanted to add with this. I think one of the caveats here is that we all have families and we all have lives. I think what we want to add here is if there is a tardiness that is excessive and we have not made communication with either the chair or the president of the council, that is when it becomes problematic.
Agreed. And it doesn't say that in here it doesn't indicate anything without notification. So if the presiding officer has been notified of an extenuating circumstance, normally we excuse that. So I think, yes, I agree. There's somewhere in 2 or 3 that put on here that, without notification, if you're just absent without leave, So, yeah, I'm going to put on here a notification.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
does that mean notifications excuses the occurrence?
That is something that we would have to determine.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Okay, hold on just a second, too. Bear with me. I want to give you my full attention. I can't do that while I'm writing.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, go ahead, Ms. Curtin.
Sure, thank you. So if we're running late for our corporate jobs, for the doctor's office, or even picking the kids up from school, we communicate that information. And I believe that there is potentially a grace period at that point, doctor's office or work, what have you. But what we've dealt with is no communication, and that is problematic, especially when we are here to serve the constituents of North College Hill. So just like we arrive on time to work, to the doctor, to picking up the kids from school, we also need to make sure we arrive on time to council meetings.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am?
so what I see as a loophole is if I'm going to be late, I send a text and then I'm just absent. So I guess where I'm going with that is, do we need to say there's only so many absences that we're allowed to have in a calendar year? And I don't know what that number looks like, because obviously there's vacations in there, right? So we would
Right.
take a vacation day potentially. I don't know what that number looks like, but I feel like that would be forgive the phrase, the get out of jail free card, is to say, I'm just not going to be there at all instead of being tardy. So maybe we need to, I don't know how to close that loop.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that we definitely need to look at. And, yeah, and then just going on to, let me see here. Because I know that some councils have rules in terms of absenteeism that we don't have necessarily.
And I think there's something in our council rules that says, or maybe it's a charter. I feel like I've read it somewhere that says you're only allowed to miss, and I'm making up numbers now, I think you're allowed to miss like 3 consecutive or something like that. But again, that even uses the term consecutive, so you miss one, come to one, miss one, come to one, and you could do the every other meeting and still only come to half and be fine, according to the rules. So I think my opinion would be that there needs to be a more clear number listed than just consecutive.
Okay.
Madam
And which,
Chair.
where was that? Consecutive? Oh, no, you were saying that we read that somewhere. Okay, yeah.
I feel like that
I
might be
agree.
in,
That makes my brain a little tickly. I think you're right. I
I
think
feel
I
like
did read
it's in
that somewhere.
council rules.
It might be
but
in the rules, I think in the charter. I know the charter says we're supposed to hold so many meetings a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think it is in council rules, the absenteeism, but it doesn't have anything specifically addressing late arrivals. So, I know you have one more thing, but I haven't heard from Ms. Chichester yet, so if you would like to weigh in with a comment?
No comment.
No comment? Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'm asking, just for food for thought in your discussion around absences, do you feel the same way if someone were like chronically ill or in the hospital, to designate a number of absences? And then, section 1.4 of the council rules, it just actually refers to Robert's Rules of Order.
Okay. All right, and I think you were
Yes.
getting my attention next.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Chair. I think that we can talk about what we would like to see going forward. I think it's important that we put something in place, and we can always, under your committee, come back and revisit this if we want to add things, we want to pull things out. But without having anything on the table, anything flies, anything
Right.
sticks as well. So I think it's important that we can pull something together much sooner than later. And then if we find that we want to tweak it in the future, let's revisit it. But having nothing on the table doesn't work, in my opinion.
Madam Chair.
One final thing that I was going to say is step 4 and forward through to step 5. And step 6 has exceptions. We were talking about that. So we actually don't have a progressive discipline policy at all in our council rules. So perhaps in terms of any kind of like decorum-related issues or things that we need to, it just says that we hold ourselves accountable or something like that. Well, how exactly are we doing that? Right? So I think this sets a clear expectation and a clear procedure, and it's, again, this is just something that AI spitballed out here for us. So we can take it, we can leave it, we can chop it up, we can light a match to it. But if we let's think about this. And to Ms. Zorb's point, it is urgent. Ms. Chichester?
I was gonna say, I know it's urgent, but I don't want to rush anything. I think we should have a little more discussion around parameters before we move anything forward.
Oh, yeah, no, this isn't moving forward yet.
Okay.
Well, we don't have legislation to move.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I heard you say something about step 6. Am I missing a sheet? I don't have a,
We
Yeah.
don't have a back.
You are.
You don't have the back of it?
Yeah.
I do
you missed
not.
a sheet.
Mine's blank on the
no.
back.
Well, that
Everybody's
explains
is.
a lot.
Everybody's is.
It's okay.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Oh, I apologize. We got started a little bit later. Oh, goodness, I hope the backs aren't missing on everything. All right,
That might
if
be
you
why
guys
I've been
have it
confused.
electronically,
They're all,
oh, my goodness, okay. Well, that explains a lot. All right, I apologize, committee.
Okay.
I tried. Well, y'all have the packet digitally, but I will make sure that we have the copies are appropriately planned next time we meet. And we'll probably be reaching out for a special committee meeting just to kind of plow through the rules a little bit. So it makes sense. We're halfway through the year. Let's kind of do a review and see where we are.
All right.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much, committee. We are going to end at 7 on the nose.
We are here this evening for North College Hill's Public Safety Committee. I'm so glad to see so many of our neighbors and friends and business owners in the meeting. And I first want to start by telling you all thank you for taking out your time of your day to be present. We most certainly have an issue, or should I say issues, in North College Hill that must be addressed. And it takes all of us working together in order for this to be fixed, to be rectified, and for us to see our best days ahead in the city of North College Hill. I am your committee chair, Kathy Curitan. All of our committee is present. We're excited to see Ms. Beverly Gaston, who is our chair of CCDR, also present this evening, and so thank you. Community Development, City Community Development and Recreation. Thank you so much. And so I want to first look at our 413 meeting minutes. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for preparing those for us. Are there any questions or modifications or redactions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
under point number 2, it references Placky's report. Would that be appended to the minutes?
That's actually from the city administrator's report. And so if we want to clarify that, we can.
Okay, so that's not part of these minutes then?
No, it's not.
Okay, just cross that out then, all right.
Hearing none, we will move forward. So I'm so excited to have voices of North College Hill present and I first want to also give space for our vice chair if he has anything to say as well before we move forward. Okay, great. Okay, great. So I'm excited to have voices of North College Hill present this evening. It's important that we look at the dynamics of our city, what needs to be fixed, and who can be a part of that fix. I alone cannot do it, and the ladies and gentlemen whom I serve with also cannot do it by ourselves. It's important that we hear from the youth, and so I'm excited to have those who represent North College Hill. These are not just youth that are here, these are leaders in our community, and so I want them to come up, starting with Ms. Kai Alexander. If you can tell us your name, you don't have to give us your address, your grade, and what your experience has been in North College Hill as a leader, and what are some of the things that you need to see changed in your community?
Okay, well, I'm Kyle Alexander. I'm in 9th grade, class president. My experience in North College Hill High School has been what I've expected it to be. It's work, it's friendships, it's character development, it's everything.
Thank you. That's very, very good. Kai is actually a leader. She's the class president, and she has done some phenomenal things here in North College Hill in just a short time she's been in high school. Kai, when you're walking to school and you're going and you're seeing your friends, what are you noticing in your community? Are you noticing everyone is complying, going to school in an orderly fashion? Or are there some kids that are coming late, some kids who are not going at all, some kids hanging out in other areas? What is your experience?
I think every school has stragglers, so yeah. Some mornings is rowdy, some mornings are calm, but I feel like that's how it's supposed to be if you're growing up in a community.
That's good. And then do you feel safe when you're in your community, going back and forth from school or maybe going to a friend's house? What's your experience? Do your friends have you all had sessions in which you've talked about your safety in the community?
I feel like everyone's comfortable where we are. There's no really uncertainty about danger or anything.
Good. And then if you look at yourself 10 years from now, if you look at the Kai 10 years from now, what would you want to say that your legacy, even at your young age of being in 9th grade, has been in the city of North College Hill? Looking at yourself 10 years in the future.
I would have been a voice that has always been heard and somebody who was always sticking up for what was right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kai. I appreciate that. Give it up for her. Give it up for Kai. Thank you. Next up, we're going to have Coach Orlando Gentry. Coach is fairly new to the school district, and we are very excited, very, very, very excited to have him here with us, Coach. You have a direct hand in this. You coach a lot of our young men who live here, who go to our schools, and so I want to hear from you, from your perspective, and share with us what has been your experience, what are some areas of improvement, and how do you see us moving forward to build this bridge moving forward. And let me also say this. We know that we have the issues, but I want us to highlight on areas in which we can strategize now to move forward successfully as a team collaboratively.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I don't want to be too loud. Sorry, y'all. All right. Well, let me start by saying, before I talk about my point of view and my opinion, let me start by saying I was born downtown Cincinnati in the lower homes. I'm a 90s baby, so I come from the real rough era. And I would say, first off, I think the biggest difference between my teenage years and theirs is no rec center in place. The rec center was at least 4 hours of the day where I'm busy, and also during the summer. So I think that's like, number one on my board to like compare, from an era where it's not like it's a lot of gun violence. It's just, they just got too much time on their hands, being new to it, and coming from CPS, I don't see the stuff I see in CPS. I saw in CPS. I don't see guns. I don't see kids with marijuana all the time in the school building. I don't see none of that. I just see the kids just outside with nowhere to go, and kids gonna be kids for the most part. What I would, like I said, I also would say, I think it's putting people like me, Coach Tyler, any other role model in position of power outside of school. Like if it was a summer camp, help us start a summer camp. And I think the best thing to go is with the babies. Like, I preferred to work in the middle school because if I'm gonna be here for a long time, I can groom my 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. I had a little children, 5th grade and 4th grade and 6th grade. They all played basketball for the school. Because when I got here, the first thing them kids said, we never in the gym. I'm like, y'all don't have like Sunday basketball? They're like, no, we don't. The gym is always closed. So that's the red flag right there. Like, where do they go? So I think as adults, and people y'all in y'all position, what can we do for the kids to get them somewhere to go? Like, I know we are struggling with like money issues with the school, but we got to make a sacrifice because we just always on the news for the wrong reasons. And it's like I said, growing up in CPS, growing up downtown, like, I saw that stuff all the time, but in my mind, I'm like, how are we on the news and it's way worse on the other side of town? Like, it's kind of confusing for the most part. So, like, that's what I would say. I think we start at like summer program, rec center. Like I said, use me, Coach Tyler, Mr. Walton. Like, right now we got a 7 SOS. We have a little league track team. Like, my daughter 5, she run track. Like, go run. Who cares? It's just running. But it's just the time. And also, they spend, I want to say, I mean, they can speak to it because they spend at least 40% of their time at the school. Like, they're in front of the school all the time. So it's like, and in the evening, we talking like 6:37. So if you go to the school right now, you're going to see a bunch of kids in the parking lot. But those are rec center hours. Rec, and in summer, you know how this summertime, you wake up, it's still the same pattern. I get up, I go to the rec center, I'm about to go on a field trip, I'm going to be paying, they're going to feed me, I'm going to come home, my mama get up, I might be tired, I'm going to take a nap, I might not wake up, or I might play the game and might not come back outside. So we do get that, and when it comes to safety, I think the young lady was right. I think they are just so comfortable in a space. Like, me, growing up downtown, I'm not looking over my shoulder because this is where I'm from. I'm not scared of nobody, this is where I'm from. And I did know that the kid that was the victim in Burger King, like, that was a star running back in the middle school. Like, he was a star. But it's like, you can't stop that stuff. But around the same time, he could have been in the rec center. He could have been doing something. Like, I just feel like it's nothing for them to go. I don't want to talk in circles. That's pretty much it. But I just feel like, I don't think it's that bad. I'm not saying it's good, but I don't think it's, where I came from or, the other side of town or what other school districts deal with. Not trying to say no names or nothing, like, for the most part, but we don't deal with what they deal with. I just think we just got to do a little bit more for the most part. And me coming here being a head coach, going 22-4, like, I said this in my another interview I did. We had a sold out game, first sold out capacity game since 2018, 2017. I lost. I was scared to come to school the next day because I'm like, these kids is gonna clown me. But when I got to school, kids who was the bad, like, I call them bad, the kids who get in trouble most of the time, they was excited. Like, I can't wait to come to the next game. What the next game? So it's like, I feel like what we did, laying the groundwork with the football team and then what the basketball was able to do, I think that's going to make it better in the winter. But if people like me, Coach Williams, can like lead these kids and get their attention and really tuck them and put them in our kangaroo pouch, I just think it just give us more opportunity to do that, and I think we'll figure it out.
That's good, Coach Gentry.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I can tell that you're very passionate about this. And again, we appreciate and absolutely give it up for him.
Thank you.
Because you could have chosen any district, and so thank you for being in North College Hill. And I do want to also hear from the young men. Tell us their names, and they can tell us as well, and their grades.
Josh O'Hara, number 1. Come on, Josh. in the basketball game. Actually went second team this year, so sophomore. So he's gonna be really good. Looking like he headed to got interest from Bluffton University, Tiffin, Finley.
Wow.
He's gonna work out for Josh. 3.5 GPA.
Yes.
His mom actually was on the council before,
Mhm,
at North College Hill way back in the day. So Josh is kind of like coming back home.
Yes. Josh, we're glad to have you, and congratulations for doing what you do as a young man in our community. And Coach Gentry is right, and we've all heard it. We hear about the bad all the time. I'm so glad to see all the good that you're bringing into North College Hill. So thank you for being president. Thank you for doing what you do. As an athlete who is really headed for success, what do you believe are some of the issues? And we've seen the Kroger issue, we've saw the Burger King issue, and we've also saw all the fights that are occurring in our community. Why do you believe these things are happening here? And what do you believe needs to occur to kind of put a stop to it, or even a moratorium to it?
I feel like just like how he said like about the rec center, because kids don't have nowhere to go, so like they think they could just do whatever they want, just stay outside and feel me, like, yeah, that's it for real. But yeah, it's just like the rec center, that's all I gotta say, really.
Okay. And let me also ask you this, Josh. When you hear about the fights, right, because they happen in the community, and I know the next day the kids are probably talking about it, or even that same night on the social media platforms, what do you believe is the root cause? Like, why do you think that the youth are choosing to fight versus talk through their issues?
I feel like because this generation is crazy, like, it's just people fight, and like with the guns and stuff, they do it over the most smallest things. Like, it's just like they can't talk through it. Like, it's just like they choose a different way to handle the situations, and they just want to hurt each other. And so,
yeah. And how do you respond to it? If somebody has something to say to you and somebody come and they're not coming at you right, how do you avoid those fights? How do you avoid staying out of trouble?
I don't get into a lot of trouble. Actually, I don't get in trouble at all. I just really be at home. You know, I play basketball. I'm trying to go to college for basketball, so I just mostly stay out the way.
Good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, young man. Tell us your name and your grade.
My name is Ethan Jackson. I'm in the 10th grade at North College Hill.
Great. And do you play sports?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So, yeah, I play basketball, and then I ran track before, and then I used to play football.
Excellent. And Ethan, what's been your experience in those first 2 years of high school? Have they been good? Have they not been so good? What are your friends saying? How do you kind of, what they say, stay out the way?
So, yeah, it's been pretty good. It's just there's, like, not too much going on, like, with, like, how you was talking about violence and stuff too much, like, around me, because I'm usually either at the rec center or I'm staying out the way in, like, my house, basically.
That's very good. And the same question I asked the other young men. When you hear about these fights that are happening at the Kroger and at the Burger King and around the community and at the high school, why do you think this is occurring over and over and over again? And why do you think some choose violence versus just walking away and staying out the way?
To me, it feels like some of them are just probably fighting over, like, stuff that's just petty, or over girls or boys if it's from the girls' side. And then, yeah, that's basically one thing I would say. It's kind of just petty.
Okay. Now, one question I want to ask you that I have not asked anyone else. What do you believe that we can do as a city to fix the negative narratives?
For the city, we could try to, like, open up some more summer programs, try to get, like, a rec center for North College Hill so the kids can at least have somewhere to go, so they can at least be free from, like, all the violence and stuff.
That's good. And one last question for you. Since we don't have that right now, what are you going to do this summer?
This summer, I'm probably going to be trying to go to, like, find basketball camps and just little summer camps to do stuff, or usually be in the house to try to stay out the way.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and I appreciate it. Come on up, Coach Gentry.
I wanted to say one more thing. It's pretty old school, but I just feel like it works. I remember being a trouble student once. I graduated from Woodward High School, so I had a stint where I fought a lot in high school. But I remember Officer Hawkins. We had to meet with him. We had to meet with him twice a month. Like, all the trouble kids had to be in one room, and but they didn't make it like, it wasn't like detention. It was more so like, okay, Orlando, what happened this week? Like, so I think, you know, like I said, I can't say it again, but like myself, Mr. Davis, Coach Tyler, Mr. Walton, like all the role models we got in that building or in the community, Dr. Blaylock, like we just get these kids in the room. Because we judging these kids and we don't even know what their home situation like most of the time.
You're
For
right.
the most part. And
You're
then
right.
at least in a situation right now where we trying to track down what happened to Jason at Burger King, we would know who the troubled kids are. And
Right.
it'd be easy to identify
Right.
for the most part. So I just think going back to the old school ways of, you know, whatever nonviolence meeting or classes is to where they can't get around. It's almost mandatory if you're going to go to school here. Like, I mean, if you're going to get in trouble after so many times, you have to go be a part of this program. And you got to work your way out this program. But as you in this program, I know one of my best friends, Travis Phillips, he finished through the program, and now he's like a military vet. He lives in South Carolina, established man, married, and you wouldn't even think he had the past he had. But he got that guidance from Officer Hawkins, was the one who guided him to the Air Force.
Right, right.
So I just wanted to throw that out there. I just feel like going old school won't hurt us at all.
Good, and you're right. Oh, one thing I want to say is that we have to bridge the gap. When our young men and women see our police department, we don't want them just to see them in an authoritative manner. We want to see them how we saw Eddie Hawkins, right?
Yes, ma'am.
He was present, he was vigilant, he was here in the community, and that's one thing that I want to see us strengthen. So when these young men see them, they can, you know, handshake, dap them up, show them love, and then give them some words of wisdom and advice so they can continue to move forward. I also want to say to this committee, we're not going to hear from each other right now. We're going to hear from those who are present in the audience. I hope we can understand and respect
I
that.
just had a follow-up question.
I had a question for him.
Okay, so we're not, at this time, we don't want to take any questions. We want to hear from those who are, because we talk amongst ourselves, but for this meeting, and I hope that you all can understand, we want to hear from those who present in this community, those who go to school here, those who work here, those who have businesses here. We want to hear from you all. How can we solve a lot of the problems that we have here in North College Hill? And there will be space for the committee to respond and share insight. So thank you so much, Coach Gentry.
Thank you.
I also want to call Miss Chappelle. I thought I saw her walk in with her beautiful daughter. Tell us your name, your age, and where you are now, because I know, but they may not, and what your experience has been in North College Hill.
Well, my name is Kiara, and I'm 22, but I've been subbing for Hamilton County Schools for about 2 years now. I started it during college, and then upon graduating with my BA in education, I've just been doing that. But being on both kind of sides of the fence, I feel like there's a lot of things we could do to tackle these things. I know a rec center was mentioned, but I know you questioned like why the issues typically occur. We can go back to like the school to prison pipeline and like mental health issues that these students are facing at home. I know we explained that they need something to do as far as, sorry, I'm a little shaky because I'm nervous, but I know we explained they need something to do as far as like sports-wise, but also there's a lot of groups in North College Hill that offers like lawn care, ways they can make money. Sorry, my nerves are really bad. Ways they can make money and different opportunities, you know, beyond just sports and physical abilities. And then also, another thing I can say, like maybe the school could incorporate stricter discipline policies, because a lot of things are taken as a joke often or not as serious. So I feel like if law enforcement and the school come together to, you know, place more heaviness upon these consequences, then it wouldn't be so reoccurrent. That's about it as far as how I feel. But I definitely agree as far as the spaces. They should have different places they can go beyond just the sports measures as well, like a dance team or maybe academic groups and stuff like that. So.
Thank you, thank you. And then Kiara, I hear Ms. Clear in my ear right here, and I don't want to move you from your time, but Coach Gentry, before you head out, I do want to give you all just a few seconds just to ask, and then we'll get back to you, Kiara.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt the flow of the meeting, but I had one question for Coach regarding an idea that you had talked about, basically getting the kids in the room to talk with a mentor or something like that. What resources do you think you would need to be able to do something like that in either at the school or at another location what resources do you believe that you would need to
Excellent
implement
question.
something like that? As in, my daughter went to Gamble Montessori High School, and they had Friday night school. So they had the people come and they talk and help you with homework or do whatever. But what resources would you need to implement something like that?
Well, one, Friday night school, I did a number of Friday night schools in high school, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But I think the young lady was right. I think the resource is more so the principals, Dr. Blaylock, and the police department in general. Like, I think it's need to be like an appointed officer that's on top of that program too. Like, I know they don't put officers inside the school no more, but Officer Hawkins is inside the building. So I just think it doesn't really need resources. I just think we just need a team, build a team.
Yeah.
Now, I do think, like, the summer camps for the youth and what she was saying, I think those resources are financial, but I know we, in the middle of summer right now, but I think, like I said, we got to make some type of sacrifice at some point for the most part. And I do think also alumni, and I can speak, to my testament, I'm not, just being honest, alumni was nowhere to be found too much during basketball season. And I was, like, honestly disappointed, but I just think, we asking for these levies to pass and people who live in the community, but, we got to bridge that gap right there, like, in my position for the most part. So I just think that's a big resource too. Like, I feel like we got a lot of resourceful people in North College Hill, but they got to want to help also.
Absolutely. Ms. Zorp, was there a question that you had for him?
Yeah, it was very similar to Ms. Clear's. I was just wondering what roadblocks are preventing the school, because obviously there's a difference between what the city can do and what the school can do.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm wondering what roadblocks are that are preventing the school from implementing the program, such as the one you spoke about with Officer Watkins.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So I think it's more so just being given the power. If it's like, hey, coach, we gonna do this, get it done, come see me in a week, for the most part, or identify those kids, we'll be able to do it. So I just gotta kind of like getting the green light or getting a nod to do it. Like, it's no really roadblocks. It's just like, it's not an option right now in my position. I'm just only speaking from my position. It's not an option. So, getting my wings from you guys and, like I said, Miss Craig is amazing. Dr. Blaylock is the guy who gave me this opportunity. I'm super blessed to be in this opportunity. Y'all don't even understand. But it's like, I just think it's got to be those people to, like I said, just empower the people like me, like you said, who invested. Because I'm invested because my dad, I went to Moeller for one day, and the federal officers raided my dad's house, and then I go back to CPS that quick. So I'm saying that to say, like, like, you can try to get out, but if you're not doing your part or you don't have no help or no guidance, it's just going to get rough. So that's why I'm so passionate, because when my dad was gone and I made those mistakes in high school, I knew I didn't have nobody. So now I'm just being Coach Lando, so that way, if anything happened to a kid in this district, they got somebody like Coach Lando that's going to understand and be able to still be able to get them a dad's voice or an uncle voice to get them out of high school to make the right decisions and not just get the willy-nilly and transfer or smoking marijuana, So I just think it's just the power. You give somebody like me the power or the resources, or financially to start the camps, or we just mandatory do these classes, or like right now I'm a para, I'm an aide, so I don't have no leeway to move around, or I'm just constantly with the kids all day. So if I had a position to where I don't have a class for 2 bills and I can go over to Trojan Way and do my class, I just think that's it. So I just think it's just the power. I just think it's just somebody just, flipping the switch or.
It sounds like what you're saying is that if we build it, they will come.
Right.
For
exactly.
sure.
Like I said, but you got to have the right people in it.
That's right.
For the most part. And it will be financial, because we always ate. Every time we came, we always ate. Comfort food is the easiest way to get kids talking for the most part. And it's crazy. Look who walking in here right now.
Yes.
That's
Good morning, young man.
That's just what I mean
Yes.
about working in the middle school.
Yeah.
Them 8th graders going into high school. So we got high school problems. Let's start with these babies so we ain't got to deal with it for the next 4 years.
Yes. I want the young man who you brought today to come on up. Even if they don't all speak, I just want you all to see the impact that Coach Gentry has in the short time that he's been here. It's important. Come on up, young man. This is a pure definition of if they build it, they will come. If we build it, they will come in collaboration. I know that you all are with the school and we're the city, but we should be walking in lockstep with each other to build a healthier and better North College Hill. And so I want you all to know that we're working. We're not just taking what you're saying and letting it fall on deaf ears. We are taking the information, taking notes, and making sure that we can do something better. We see the impact that you've had in our youth. We see the phenomenal record that you had in our sports department. Now it's time to take the information that we have and run with it. Let's not sit on it and let us have another hot summer, but let us take this information and apply it to build something better for our youth because they deserve it.
Yes, ma'am. They
most
do.
certainly
They do. It needs to work hard. And like I said, one last thing I can say about the athletics. I know she's athletics and everything, but coming from CPS, I had not one eligible kid this year. Nobody had Fs or like wasn't able to play because of grades. That's like almost common where I come from. It's always going to be 4 or 5 kids, even at the freshman level. That's always the weakest level that kind of fall off grade wise. Like I don't have nothing. I think my freshman GPA was like 3.4. My JV was like 3.2. In my varsity, we had a high of 3.7 overall GPA on the year, and I didn't even hold the study tables.
Yeah.
So it's not like they
Good.
bad. They
Yeah.
doing their homework. You
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Give it up for them.
Madam Chair,
Thank you, Coach
Thank
Gentry.
you for the opportunity for being here.
Yeah.
Like I said, she got my number. You said you asked for me. I showed up. I'll show up every time.
Absolutely. And
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you for showing up. We
Yes, ma'am.
appreciate it.
Madam Chair, Chairperson.
Is it a question or a comment?
One question.
Okay, really quickly, let's go.
Coach Gentry, so how many young men or women are currently in NCH athletic program from little Trojans up to the middle school, up to the high school, even counting feed the youth and everybody? Like who?
Just basketball or in general?
Both of you know.
In
off the top
general,
of your
I
head.
would say at least 100 kids.
Wow.
At least 100, because you got to think you got, like I said, 4th, 5th, and 6th basketball. You got track, volleyball, those middle school. That's just like 12 kids per group. And if you add every group, I'm gonna say at least 100, over 100.
So that's like almost a third of the school.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, a third
Yes,
of the
ma'am.
school is involved, and you have the ability to impact them because although you coach basketball, they still see you in the school as a para.
Yeah, but it's
They
not only just basketball.
Yeah.
Like it's kids, but it's nothing for them to do. So like
Yeah.
all I can really do is be like the cool uncle when they see me during
Yeah.
the day. Like I almost can't even walk down certain hallways because kids want to jump out of line and give high fives, and now I'm a distraction. So it's like, for the most part, I just think that's just where we at right now. Like let's just focus on
Yeah, let's build.
What you were saying. Let's just build.
Yeah.
So,
Madam
yeah.
Chair,
Yeah.
Is it a question or a comment?
it's a question.
Okay, last question.
So I am a near and dear friend to Mr. Eddie Hawkins. I would like for you to expound on what you saw Mr. Hawkins do in the building. He graduated from Woodward High
Yes, ma'am.
School, and I know that you also went to Woodward High School. But if you could just tell everyone else what he does
Oh yeah.
He's the GOAT.
impactfully, differently
Yeah.
than what we know. He's a Cincinnati police officer. I think he's retired
Yeah, he's
now.
retired.
But I think that if you could just expound on that, that would be great.
Well, one for me personally, he was the one who helped me come up with my plan B. I never did it, but he told me like, "Hey, look, man, just get you a degree, get you a job." And then he told me about like the having his own janitorial service. Most kids don't even know. That's an easy way. But I will also say that was something that I was trying to come up with because if you do, kids can work. You can create jobs, and that's what he was saying. Like you can work for me. I'm like, you got your own company. I'm like, what kind of company? Then when I showed up, I was just cleaning up. But it's like, wow, like in my mind, this is his side job. This is like, I know this is not, something small. But he was also, when the kid got in trouble, I remember this one kid, I never forget it. Somebody stole from the locker room. Just an example, somebody stole from our locker room, and then one kid seen it, and he pulled that kid in, and I got into a fight because my shoes came up missing, and I was insecure about. I told you my dad was gone, so money was tight. I couldn't lose no shoes. But that kid knew who did it, and I was angry the whole day. And Mr. Hawkins made that kid feel good about snitching. Like, look, bro, like he ain't got no shoes.
Yeah.
So you gonna try to be hard and worry about what somebody think, but your teammate don't have no shoes. So he was always able to like break through and make us see the real for the most part. Like he always like, what's it called, peel back the lens or the curtain. He always really got in it. He was always there. As soon as you walk in the building, first person you see, he didn't even really physically break up fights. He would literally walk in the middle and be like, hey, hey, hey. And then we would calm down because of the respect we had for him.
Yeah.
For the most part. So it was like a never day we didn't see him. He worked all the basketball games. Like I said, he had the program. If you got in trouble, he kept you. He was a safe space. You get in trouble or you need a break or you know everybody don't get along with their teachers, you go to his office for the most part. And our security guards do that at North College Hill. They do a great job over there. They do a phenomenal job. Even getting to me before some stuff get to the office, if y'all know what I'm saying about players for the most part. Like, and that's what they need. So next time they get into a bind or they don't know what to do, like they not gonna cross that the security guard is what I'm saying. But Hawkins, that's exactly who he was. Nobody crossed him. Everybody respected him. The girls respected him. It was always yes sir, like, you know what I mean. And if you didn't yes sir, you got a thump on the head, stuff like that. So that's who he was. But it's always, for me, it's always been yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. So I just think that's what it is. Like I said, just more people empowered to be that for the youth. It's just all we need. It's just got to be more than one Coach Lando right now. We need like at least 7 of us, 6 of us for the most part. So, and we still see him. We still see Officer Hawkins at games. He still comes support. He came like 3 of my games and sat in the front. You know, he was here when I got the job. He reached out when I got the job. I'm not gonna go on and on about him, y'all, but we ain't got enough. She said we ain't got enough time. But Hawkins is just consistent. How about that?
He is the GOAT. I know him equally personally, and he is phenomenal to this day. And he's even taken a lot of the high school kids on the college tours over the summer and through their spring breaks. And so he most certainly is the GOAT. So again, Coach Gentry, thank you. Young men, thank you. And I tell you this, continue to do what you do. Continue to stay out the way, because when you connect yourself with a phenomenal coach like Coach Gentry, you will go far. No matter what people try to say, no matter the picture they try to paint, stay with Coach Gentry and you will go far.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Chappelle, come on back up. Because Ms. Chappelle gives us a different voice. As she stated, she went through our school district. She's now a college graduate working in her field. She is a member of, well, I don't want to tell your story. You go ahead and share.
What do you want me to say?
Just again, tell us who you are, when you graduated, what your degree is, and what your degree is in, and what has been your experience, and how did that allow you to get to where you are now?
Well, actually, I graduated from Withrow High School, but all of my life I went to Northwest High School. So I did notice that drastic change from the different environments as well, and I can compare that to North College Hill versus like a CPS school as well. But I graduated with my BA in education, so my focus is pre-K to the 8th grade, like the smaller groups. But just back to what I was saying, like obviously a lot of the problems and issues starts at home, but if we do come together as a community and build these different things that they can do, I feel like that would be really good.
That's good. And now I know your mama. Your mama is right by your side. Come on up, mama. Okay, mama said no, not right now. But I know your mama works hard behind the scenes, not just for you, but for all of her children. Tell me that impact that had for you to get you where you are, having a mother in the home to really push you forward.
I actually had both parents because they're married,
Yes.
so having that and being the oldest of 6, it often inspired me to be a leader and, you know, to want to guide the youth as well. So that was obviously amazing because she kept us out of trouble, and she often keeps my brothers out of trouble. They're outside 24/7 right after school, straight A's and B's. They're good students. Like I mentioned, they find different things to do, such as going to the church. I know we said we don't have a rec, but the church is a good space, and it's obviously a positive setting for the kids as well. And then, like I said, the North College Hill talk groups, I often see a lot of people offering different services and stuff for the kids as well. So
Good. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your perspective, and I'm sure that the students in the schools in which you are a part of are very appreciative of you, and congratulations.
thank you.
Madam
One thing
Chair.
I did want to ask was
Yes.
like a side question.
Mhm.
As far as like being on like city council and like different committees, would you be able to like point me into the right direction after this?
Absolutely. You got it.
Madam
Yes,
Chair.
it's a done deal. Yes, Ms. Gaston.
I just had a quick question. So I noticed you're pink and green.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm blue and gold. and I am chair of City Community Development and Recreation, and I would absolutely love to get with my sister Greek and figure out what we can do with our youth. So I would love to connect, give you my phone number and email, and get rocking.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you know they often incorporate.
Into the mic for me.
Oh, sorry. They often, like she mentioned, she's in a sorority as well, a black sorority, and we always have events for the youth as well. And then they even have like mentorship programs where they will pair you with somebody your age or range or something like that that can guide you through different stuff. So maybe we can work together and try to do that for the females, like maybe a mini sorority for the girls or something, just something positive for them to look towards too. And then, you know, that goes with academics as well, because GPAs involve expectations and standards. So I feel like that'll be a good idea too.
Yes,
Good.
my sorority has a mini sorority. So we have Rosebuds, which starts at age 5 and goes up to 12. Then we have rowers, and I know we currently have rowers here in North College Hill. So just kind of expanding that and doing something
Right.
collaborative would be really great. My husband also wears Crimson Cream,
Oh, okay.
Crimson and Cream. So we have people here. We have A5A. So I think that would
And
be
then
awesome.
to expand that as well as far as exposure, because like we mentioned, the black sororities and fraternities, those can be very influential too, because we show them you can go to college and you can,
Yes.
you know, have people to help you get through these things and guide you. So it's
Absolutely.
not impossible. So
That's right.
So
And
I'm
you're right.
excited, yes.
And you're right. Your mom and your dad. I talk to your mom more often, and she's very proud of the work that she has put in for her children to get where they are. So thank you. Continue to do the work, and we will connect. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, and give it up for her as well. So we've heard from our youth. Now let's hear from some business owners that are present in the room. And I am going to read a letter to you from Kayla Cook. She is the owner of Shop 26, located at 1813 West Galbraith Road. She writes, as the owner of Shop 26 Men's Salon, we're coming up on 4 years of being established in North College Hill and have experienced both the good and not so good things happen right here in front of us on a daily. We love to support the neighborhood as best as we can in various ways. Over the last few years, she's experienced an attempted break-in resulting in damaged windows, a shootout in the back alleys, children and the homeless coming in and out of the shop taking snacks and drinks that are for customers, an abundance of solicitation despite signs being posted, a local window washer screaming at her employees on several occasions. She's tried to put a nice bench out front for the customers who are waiting to sit, as well as a table on the back, but both since have been removed as they tend to attract unruly teens who trash the bench and a local man who uses the table at night for his drug use. It's tough. Well, it's a tough spot because we are not only trying to run successful businesses that draw in people from all over the city, and they do, while also trying to keep a positive image and keeping the unfortunate situations at bay. She also writes that it's really discouraging to experience this over and over and over in her community. And she feels like it detours the people from wanting to even come into North College Hill to support her business and the other businesses that are here in our city. She writes, I'll also add that the trash and the littering pickup in front of the shops on Galbraith Road, and that's considered our business district, are mainly done by fellow business owners of Pluto's Cafe, Eddie. We all know Eddie. This is done out of kindness of his heart and his drive to keep the city looking nice. This is an area that could be better supported by the Public Works Department. Back alleys should be patrolled nightly by our police department if they aren't already. Overall, she states, I still believe the good outweighs the bad. I'd love to have more events going on in the business district specifically. Finding a way to draw in additional businesses would be a great idea, but I think it comes at the cost of making sure that the current businesses' needs are being met first. She writes in closing, she loves North College Hill and she definitely is here to stay. And so this is from Kayla Cook, who could not be here this evening, from Salon, it's called Shop 26 on Galbraith Road. And so this is her experience. As a business owner in North College Hill, we need to make sure that we're listening to his, and hopefully we can take some action as well. Even our administration being a part of that. I also want to invite the managing stylist from Salon Deluxe to come on up. Tell us your name, the business that you are a part of, and what your experience has been in North College Hill.
You may want to adjust that mic down a little bit. It might be easier for you. There you go.
Hi, my name is Crystal Brown. I've had the pleasure of working for Salon Deluxe for about 4 years now. The owner is Andrea Peck, and so she would have seen a little more than what I've seen, so she'll be speaking next. My experience since I've been there, honestly, we haven't had a lot of horrible things happening in front, and I think that's mainly because we as stylists in the shop, we like to I guess, be a community for the children. There are children that come in when they need a drink of water, when they would like snacks. We try to keep things in there so that they know that we're there for them. We have heard things that have happened in the neighborhood. For me, as far as what I've seen and what I can get a better understanding, I think community is everything. I think that it's everyone's responsibility, especially when it comes to the children in the community. If you see something, say something. That's how I grew up. That's how my community was. I'm originally from Chicago, and everybody knows about Chicago. But one thing I can say about Chicago, we do look out for each other. I've never had a situation where we were seeing things that we weren't supposed to be seeing or engaged in things, surrounded around us. I just feel that the children need something to do. I piggyback off of everything that everyone has said today. I think they said some great things. I'm very impressed by this board. I think you guys are doing a great job by asking the right questions and saying the things that need to be said. And the people of the community definitely have said what needs to be said. So that's even better understanding. I think it's a great job that the coach is doing. You guys do need more people like that to help things move forward. And I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, y'all.
You're okay. You're okay. It's probably someone calling to book a hair appointment.
I thought I turned it down. I just think it takes a village. Still takes a village. It still takes all of us to be responsible for these children, even if we don't understand, even if we don't know where they're coming from, but we have to take time to understand where they're coming from. Because as the coach said before, we don't know what's going on in their households. We don't know if they're hungry. We don't know if they're frustrated, if someone has bothered them that day. These kids are at war with themselves. They really are. And it's time for us to just be patient and get a better understanding and open our ears and find out what we can do better and how we can do better for them. And I don't know these kids either, but we love to see them come in there. We love to see them come in there because now they have somewhere to go. Even if we didn't experience or see what some of the other stylists or some of the other shops have seen, Andrea may have. She may have because she's been here longer. But I think that everything that was said was great, and we got to get it together, y'all.
We do. Andrea, you want to come on up? We know your name. Tell us what your experience has been as being a business owner in North College Hill. And I know we sometimes don't want to talk about the not so good, but it's important that we talk about the areas in which we can improve as a city to best support your business. So.
Yes. Today has been an awesome experience. I've been in North College Hill as a business owner for 11 years, May 1st of this year. And we always try to keep it nice and airy and light with the children, especially the children. For the first maybe 4 or 5 years, I had 2 young men that went to North College Hill, and just to give them just a little something, they would come in every Wednesday and sit out my trash, and I would pay them $5. There's 2 for 5 years. They did it nonstop. They would do that. And it was just to show them that, there are nice people out here, and you don't have to worry about going and, trying to steal some chips from down the street, or not saying that people are criminals, but I'm just saying it just gave them an incentive. And then we had 2 sets of sisters that would come in every day. And I know it's for the candy and whatnot, some refreshments or whatnot. But it was just nice to see their face, and they were very respectable. They would come in. Since 2 have moved away to other area, to another schools. And then the other 2, I believe you were around, and she said that she was having a fight. And I was like, some battles you don't have to, it was a fight with someone. She was defending another little girl, and I told her, I said, some things you just don't have to participate in. Just walk away. Be the bigger person and walk away. And I know that's hard being a teenager, especially young girls and young men too. They typically want to have some argument about something that's not going to help their future or whatnot. But I think that in the salon, they feel comfortable. We've had a young lady that came in, somebody was outside doing something, and she just came through the door, and we told her, you don't have to leave, just go ahead and stay. You want some water, you need anything, want to call your mother, you want to call your father, just stay here. You don't have to go back outside if you feel intimidated. And I think it's just a daily occurrence that we see. It's not bad though. Like the area, I've been there, like I said, 11 years, and I see little tit for tats, but not some of the things that I've heard that happens in the neighborhood. I think because we are a small little business, that they feel comfortable coming inside. And I wish I could see that or say that for the other businesses too. I'm sorry to hear what the other young lady at the other salon experienced. I have not had those experiences, so
Good.
I'm not really sure about that. But as a business owner, I think also with the police, I think that they could maybe, but as they have over the years, I've seen them go in and out the alleys, because that's where some of the occurrences tend to happen. But I think that presence would help. Maybe even where the crossing guard is, because we're right by the crossing area, right there at Grace and West Galbraith, that maybe the police presence there would help a little bit. Just to sit. They don't have, if you want to get out and walk, or, I think it would just disturb some of the tension maybe. And I think when kids, especially now school's about to end, when they get out of school, they may have had some interactions with people inside of school. And I think that once they're outside, they just want to take their frustrations out. But I think that's what every neighborhood goes through. I don't think it's just North College Hill. I think that's even growing up when I was growing up. It's just something that happens. It's part of teens. And I love what the coach and the other young people were saying, and this young lady here, about having something extra after school to go to do, to get some of that energy out before they go home. And it's home life now,
Yeah.
They need something else to do. And that's been forever in every neighborhood, in every school district, in every community across the United States, not just North College Hill. So it's good to see you want some input from the community to find out, maybe where you can tweak or twerk a little thing, or, for the children, if it's all about the children. But I think some of the businesses also, like you have larger companies in the area. You have Kroger, Walgreens, McDonald's, the new Dunkin' Donuts, a lot of different communities that could also help maybe fund or contribute to getting the rec center together. Thousands of people go through McDonald's, thousands, so maybe, I don't know if there's a tax or some kind of incentive you can give, but I think the rec center is that you need to do that. That needs to be something that strongly, I agree, that
Yes,
should
ma'am.
be imposed.
Yes.
As just for the kids. I mean, they're the future,
Right.
Just go from there, especially with the police.
Absolutely.
Get them going.
Madam Chair,
And that's it.
Yes. Is it a question or a statement?
a question.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Your statements were heard and noted. The question I have is, you mentioned a rec center. Were you a participant of a rec center when you were young? And if so, can you expound, or maybe if not, just expound on what you think that would bring to the community as it pertains to the youth?
Yes, I was as a young girl. My mother moved around, so we were in different neighborhoods. That's why I'm saying it's not just one particular neighborhood. It's always something in some neighborhood. But yes, I was as a young girl. I was actually a brownie, part of the Girl Scouts. I was a little
Girl
brownie.
Scout leader.
Lifetime member.
Yes. So that helped keep me focused. My mother was extremely strict. So knowing not to go out to do certain things, of course things happen. I had boys pick on me all the time. I don't know why, but they picked on me, little boys. Never had a fight with a girl, always little boys. So I believe that having the rec center, it just helps you mentally come away from some things and just, embrace a new community of doing things. It's good to be able, as they used to have the little boys and girls club, to go and play basketball or dominoes or air hockey or, just something, go swimming in the summertime. And a lot of those programs and things over the neighborhoods have closed or been taken away. And in this community, I think it'll help some of the issues that are going on with the kids. And I know the lady that was speaking about the window man, he's been coming to this office for 11 years. And I think he has a mental thing, so you might need to tell her that. That goes on. But he's a really nice gentleman.
That's good to know.
He travels like neighborhoods, not just North College Hill. He's all over the city. And he's a nice guy. Again, he might have some mental issues, but other than that, that's it.
Good. Thank you so much for
Madam
being
Chair.
here. And then if they want to connect with you, tell us where your salon is located. You said right at the corner of West Galbraith and Grace, but give us an address.
Yes, it's 1817 and a half West Galbraith. It's Salon Deluxe. It's a cute little building.
It is.
Big
Very nice on the inside.
Yeah, big inside. And like I said, the children, I love when they come in. They're very respectful, and it's a daily basis of seeing their cute little faces. Sometimes when I don't see them, I worry about them. Like, what happened to, Jordan? What happened to Gabrielle? What happened to little Jennifer? Just wanting to see them. And they know we have candy, so they come in. They're nice.
Yeah.
We just give it to them.
Ms. Gaston?
Yes.
Question?
It's kind of just wanted to piggyback off of what you were stating. As chair of City Community Development and Recreation, some of the work that myself and Councilwoman Alexander have been working on is finding community partners to partner with us. And I'm happy to see Pastor Hudson here, who has a church here in our community. And we're working on an ordinance to have more structure for our students. That's something that we've heard, that they need more structure and more discipline. And one piece of it that I really enjoyed hearing from you is community service. Giving the students something to do during the day. So we have partnered with a couple of churches who are willing and able to help provide community service as needed so that they can feel like they are a part of something. It's a lot. It takes a true village. So I would love to connect with you to kind of add you to our roster of safe spaces for our children. As we continue to work towards a rec center. I have young children. I have 3. And having a space for them to go that's safe, environmentally, social, emotionally is really important, but that's going to take time.
Yeah.
So right now, we got to lean on our aunties and our uncles.
Oh, I'm an auntie.
That's right. You a good auntie too. Yes, thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate hearing your voice, and I really appreciate the thought that you have put into being here. Your salon is clean on the inside and on the outside. Thank you for being a safe space, so when they come to your shop, they know they're safe. And I was there when that young lady came in, and you all gave her such wisdom and advice, and what she does with it, hopefully she captures it and she walks away with it. So thank you so much for being here.
All right, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
I'm actually going to move around a bit on the agenda for sake of time. Ms. Dukestein, I invited Chief Cheney, but I don't see him present this evening. Will he be attending? Do you know?
No.
No. Okay. Well, I was
Madam
hoping.
Chair,
Yes.
I'm sorry. One of your guests had another question.
Oh.
If she has a.
Yes. Come on up.
I was just wondering, do the children have after-school programs that are allotted to them? And if they do they have volunteers that could come in?
So some of the programs have been cut due to funding from the state. Our levy last Tuesday failed, and further cuts, unfortunately, will occur. We have a very resilient superintendent, Dr. Eugene Blaylock. He's very passionate about the school district. He's been here almost as long as Andrea has been a shop owner, and he's very passionate about pivoting into a different direction. I'm going to connect you and your salon with him because he needs to know of the resources that are here in North College Hill, and that even Kayla, her experience maybe was not as good as yours has been, but it's important that the businesses in our main thorough, as many cars go through McDonald's, double the cars go up West Galbraith Road, right? So we want to make sure that the children know that if they need that auntie, as Councilwoman Gaston mentioned, they need that auntie, or that y'all have a man in your salon as well. They need that uncle. They need some advice. They need some wisdom. And so, unfortunately, with some of the funding that has been cut, we're having to pivot in a different direction for our youth. But we're going to do something.
Okay,
for
great.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Dixon, you mentioned Chief Cheney is not. Did he provide a statement or anything for us this evening?
Yes, in the packet that you have attached, I passed it out to the audience and you all. I think his report is in the back page, last 2 pages.
Okay. Some of the questions that I posed to Chief Cheney that he asked about, I wanted to find out about the current public safety posture and the overall crime trends. I also wanted to find out about the community policing and the relationship building, because we have a lot of our citizens right here, our business owners right here. And so we want to bridge that gap with our police department. We don't only want them to be present when there's crime, when there's trouble, and when there's a problem. We want them to kind of more so be present, like to be the Eddie Hawkins of North College Hill. And so do you know if he has any insight regarding the crime trends, the crime clearance, building the gaps relationally with the community policing, and even from like our NRO?
So yes, currently myself and Chief Cheney are working on a summer plan along with Mayor Nichols. For our community, we've been attending different spaces, Chief, Mayor, myself, different spaces in the greater Cincinnati area, just some training, seeing what other cities are doing. I can tell you that we want to have some touch points with our NRO. We're definitely not trying to inhibit communication. We are participating, as you council group knows, in a program through Hamilton County to kind of pilot here in North College Hill for our youth. We are getting some metrics as to what that looks like, as to how we would remediate those circumstances that get out of control so that we can better accommodate a more peaceful city as it pertains to our youth. I know that as we're digging in deep, a lot of communities and other cities are having similar issues. Cincinnati had a summit this week where they were talking about how they're shifting their youth to their curfew centers. And with Hamilton County Juvenile Court, which is the jurisdiction that handles the youth, we have to glean from them what is enforceable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So thank you for addressing that for futuristically, but this isn't anything new. What we're experiencing in North College Hill, we've experienced it this year, the year before that, and years in the past. So it's good that we're putting some measures into place, but can you, at least for the audience who maybe doesn't know the information that council is aware of, so they can kind of leave here today with insight of what the city of North College Hill is doing actively to be more boots on the ground. We heard about the fight. We know about the Kroger situation. We hear about the situation even with the alleys and roadways and speeding and things of that nature. And so I was really hoping he would be here, but I do understand he's not. But can you just maybe speak to some of those hot topic areas that are trending? Some of the posts that we see has thousands and thousands and thousands of comments, my position here on being on city council and more so being the chair of public safety is to hear from the voices of the people and to ensure that we can take appropriate action, not just, and not saying that we're doing that, but not to just sit here and absorb the information, but actually say this is what we've heard, because it's not our first time hearing it, and what can we do to let our audience know we hear you, we see you, and we're actually going to take X, Y, and Z. More so for the crime, the trending. Kayla mentioned that her business was broken into. Whitney Peak, owner of Peak into Beauty, mentioned their business was broken into. We had a fight over at the Burger King. Like, how can we know that those who are coming to our community will feel safe?
So, again, Chief Cheney, Mayor Nichols, and myself are putting together a summer plan in action, which is in kind with a lot of our other cities and communities surrounding us to kind of remediate some of the things that we've been seeing on trend. Though I don't know if you guys remember at Kings Island a couple of years back, there was lots of fights breaking out with youth, as some of the other audience members have spoken to say. So they just come with things, even when they have things to do. We're trying to make sure that we capture the audience of our youth so that we are not subject to some of the things that we have been seeing. I will tell you that we were looking at the trends, Janie and I, today. The trend for crime is actually going down relative to 2018. Was it 2018? 2019. We had 6 homicides involving, not all of them involving youth, but some involving youth. And so those numbers for us are down. We do recognize that there has been an uptick of youth in the community doing things that we don't like to see and causing fights. And we want to make sure that we're putting things in place to remediate that. And so a big, important part of that is to understand how we can enforce the law. Again, we're going to be looking at legislation to make sure that legislation falls in suit with Hamilton County so that we can make those things enforceable. We already have some existing legislation and looking at kind of modifying that just to make sure that it is enforceable. That's a really, really big part of making sure that we curate change.
I agree with you. And then can you also speak if to any of those initiatives involve community policing, where we saw and heard the story from Orlando Gentry and the impact it made for him, even to this day? Does the city, I'm not sure if I know of a plan to more so have community policing in our area, so that when they see the officers, it's not only for enforcement, but it's also to encourage them and motivate them?
Yes, some of the kind of ideas that we've been kicking out is having a walking or biking patrol so that officers can say hello and speak to the kids or interact. We're just looking at how we can implement those things in a very safe way because there is mitigate some risk for the officers as well. So we are definitely planning to implement our NRO and all of the officers to apply community policing that shakes people's hands, gets to know them outside of an emergent situation or a crime-based situation. We're hopeful that children and teens can call the officers by name.
Good. And I see that our mayor walked in, Mayor Nichols. Would you like to come up and share anything on this topic of community policing, safety in the community, hearing the voices of business owners, of the students, of residents, crime trends?
I did not hear any of those.
Okay,
I'm
sure.
sorry, I was at another meeting,
No
so
problem.
I did miss that, but as Ms. Dukes Dean stated,
Yeah.
we
Swap
are
your name
working-
tags out.
Swap your name tags. Normally you sit on the other side. Sorry.
Yes.
That way we have the right, on
If you would
camera,
ask
it's the right
question again, I
name.
want to make sure.
Absolutely. So, in absence of Chief Cheney being present this evening, our city administrator Duke Steen was speaking to some of the questions that I asked Chief Cheney about. Some of those include community policing, strategies for addressing the property and crime trends, also talking about some of the clearance rates in our police department, and then offering more of a transparency with the community, with making sure that we don't just see them when it's time to mitigate crime, but more so just being present in North College Hill.
So that's one of the things that we're working on, making them more visible out into the community, especially in our business district. Because as you know, a lot of the times, this is where a lot of the activity is taking place with our students, not necessarily in the parks, but in our business district. And so that's one of the ideas, is to just beef up the police patrolling there to try to combat some of the issues and some of the crimes that we see. I would like to point out, too, that a lot of times some of the crimes that happen in North College Hill are not residents. It's people from outside of the community. So that's huge. It's more so people from outside of the community than it is our actual residents, whether it be youth or adults. One of the things that we're working on, we know it's a huge topic, but it's very important that whatever we come up with, that it's enforceable. We have to be able to enforce. As some of the things are written at this particular time, it's not enforceable. So with anything
When you
that
say, let me just make sure I
By
hear you
law.
correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
by
What do you
law.
mean it's not, what we currently have is
So
not
some of
enforceable?
the things that maybe, like the curfew, it's going to be really hard to enforce. You know, we'll need the support of the parents and the community, because a lot of times, I hate to say it, but the kids can hide in places that we don't see. I was out last week. A lot of times we do ride-arounds by myself, and it was pretty late on a school night, and I saw some kids that were like tucked behind a building. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, now we have to have our police behind the buildings, not just in front, because they know what to do. They know how to hide. So it's just enforcing that curfew. When you pick them up, all you do is pick them up and take them home. So there's nothing that, who's responsible at that point?
I feel like you have something to say.
I did have one question. So when we were, I was looking at the packet of information and agenda for today, it sparked my memory, and you mentioned that we had existing legislation concerning curfews and things like that. And I remember that because I don't have our ordinances memorized. I just have this one because I was recently looking at it. So I'm not, but it's codified ordinances under Chapter 509, where it discusses disorderly conduct. And under there's several provisions. Curfew, I think there's two different curfews. There's generally like an overnight
Trying to
curfew.
remember because I read
Yeah,
it
there's an
before.
overnight curfew, and then there was a school day
A
curfew,
school day
the one you were
curfew.
referring to.
I was with- yes.
And then there's also the parental and guardian responsibility. However, I noticed earlier in that food chain of ordinances, there's also inciting to violence.
Yes.
There is all these other things. And, you know, my question is, is there a way that we can figure out which pieces of that are unenforceable so that we can make the appropriate modifications to our existing, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, you know, but we just need to modify what we have so that it
What we're
aligns
looking
with
into
what
as
juvenile
well.
court can do or wherever.
So last
yeah.
week, that was one of the things that we were discussing and looking into, like, okay, what do we need to remove and or add in order to make this work for our city, right? Because you can pull from this city, that city, but what's going to be effective, right? Enforceable and effective here for us.
Ms. Tuxtine, for the parts that are Mayor Nichols, the parts that you believe that are enforceable, what trends have you seen?
So the enforceability comes straight down from the pipeline of Hamilton County Juvenile Court. And so we are receiving from them how they would mitigate or remedy those circumstances once it goes over to Hamilton County.
Are you talking about our curfew violations?
So curfew violations.
Right.
And
So
so
what
I'm-
we're talking about is our codified ordinances, the ordinances that already exist. When we have had any of the youth that broke violation, let's just say curfew was at 11 and they were still out at midnight on a school night, are we even enforcing that? Are we finding struggle? And if we are finding struggle, then the portions that we are able to enforce, are we enforcing that, and what is the trend?
Yes, we are enforcing that. What that looks like is dropping those kids back off at home.
So they see them, pick, hey, what are you doing?
5
Pick 'em up.
kids, 2 kids, 10
Pick 'em up,
kids, 20
Put them
kids.
in a cruiser and they take them home.
How many, what I'm looking to do is quantify it. So are we saying it's 5 kids, 10 kids?
I think on any given event, there could be varying amounts of children. I was outside of this space,
There were 5.
and there were 5, and one of our officers, you know, 2 of them were getting a little rowdy, so he immediately reprimanded them, and then the other backup officer took some home.
And then when we take the youth home, do we speak with mom, dad, auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa, or do we just, and I don't want to say drop them off at the curb, but do we just kindly let them out, and
I think
is there a conversation?
I think the attempt is to try to talk to the parents. In this particular instance that I witnessed, they were not outside of curfew. They just were hanging out in the business district, almost loitering. So I think it just depends on the circumstance when they're doing things like that, existing in spaces where they're not able or shouldn't be. Then they're just escorted home. If they are breaking curfew, then the attempt is to try to talk to parents.
So I was told by someone who was in this situation, their child was picked up. The officer called that parent's phone from the child's phone. And they're out. Then they brought them home. So the parent made contact the officer made contact that way.
Okay.
Give me your phone. Call your parent. And then they took the child home.
And then if you notice that some of the children, I don't want to use that word, but some of the students, children, community kiddos, when we see that the same kids are out, then are we doing the same action to mitigate? Like, tell me more about that.
So that's when I say that it has to be enforceable, because when you see repetitive behaviors out of the same faces, at that point, then we need to take the action further. And that is taking that over to Hamilton County. And once it gets to Hamilton County Juvenile Court, we are at their liberty at how they handle what our ordinances say.
Got it. So my thought process is this, and we're going to segue into the reason why Ms. Gaston is here. I don't think this is something in our committee or even as a council or as a city we can police our way out of. I think that there needs to be more moms like Ms. Chappelle, the aunties from Salon Deluxe and others, Pastor Hudson, part of the discussion so we can determine how we can all collaborate together. I most certainly would not want to put the burden of a youth or a young adult being out. And I'm going to give you a small scenario. Let's just say little Johnny is out at 11:30 because there's no food at home and he's going to the McDonald's or even to the gas station and grab food. I don't want him to be penalized with any kind of arrest or call or what have you because he's simply out grabbing food. So I think there's a way that we can address it from a city perspective, but we also have to use caution because there are some kids who are serving as mommy and daddy because mommy and daddy may be working, or there's a teenager raising their little sisters at home or little brothers at home. And so I think this is a further discussion. I actually am going to put you on the spot, Pastor Hudson. I'm going to call you up here. You are a father. You have a thriving church here in the city of North College Hill. You have teenagers. And you know about this. This is not anything new to you. I want to ask for you just to speak to what your experience has been as a pastor in our community. And as I mentioned, you have teenagers. And what's your perspective? And how do you believe that you, as a voice of reason in our area and as a leader in the church community, can assist in this problem?
Well, I want to say thankful to be here today. Our church is literally right across the street in between Dunkin' Donuts and the credit union. So we really experience the majority of the traffic that you see with youth every day. They walk through the alley, they walk through our yard, they walk up and down that street when they're out of school. Droves of them come from across the street and go through our church. We used to have an issue, and the issue that we used to have was that they used to sit on our steps, dump trash everywhere. But what happened was we started building relationship with them. When we started building relationship, we would pull them in. Sometimes we would even take them in the church. They would find humor in it, but they would come. We would take them in just to talk to them. And we found that they don't dump trash in our yard anymore like they used to. They may do it still in the alley some, but the more that we had the opportunity to get our hands on them and talk to them, the better our situation became. And so as a church, I just think with us, building relationships is the key. We offer ourselves as a church. We have a you all have held meetings there where we can come, and I'm working on even myself an after school program for youth, so that when they come, we can teach them about bullying, we can teach them about cyberbullying, we can teach them about crime prevention, we can teach them about crime, the things that happen in our neighborhood, because sometimes we take advantage that youth know, and sometimes we think that they know everything that they should know, and a lot of times they don't know, and sometimes they think just hanging around, they don't know that to be loitering. They just think they're just having fun with their friends,
Right.
But they don't know the laws of the land, and so sometimes we have to grab them and teach them. And I heard people talk earlier about rec centers and things, but there are you have people like us, as you said, auntie and uncles. You have us. I'm at the church every day. And every time someone comes in our neighborhood, I try to grab them. I try to speak to them. I try to let them know. And they have gained a respect for us. But that can be a citywide thing if we can do more to be able to provide programs for them. Summertime, we're hosting a summer camp in our church. Someone is hosting it there. But we're hosting it there so that people in the community, if they want somewhere to bring their kids, they can bring them there. We definitely want to do our after school program coming up this particular fall, because I am finding that one of the biggest problems with the young people was that they were bored after school. If they're not playing sports, they're just walking around and they're just doing things. And we know when you get bored, you just start doing stuff, especially if you're youth, because you don't have avenues. And so what we want to do is just be not just us, because we want to be a partner in the community. We don't want to just make it about our church, but anyone that we can partner with to make it better, to give avenues. Because I grew up, I'm a pastor now, but I started my career as a counselor for CRC. I was a basketball coach at Don Community High School. We know how that went. I've been a substance abuse counselor, and so I have all kind of resources to give, but I grew up in neighborhoods to where we were in community centers every day, or we had something to do every day. And sometimes it's difficult because our young people walk up and down the street, and a lot of times it's difficult for them to process that they have nothing to do. And that's not a community problem. A lot of times, as we said before, we need the support of the parents.
Yes.
We need their help. We need them to provide. We need, because if they go into another community, they won't have the excuse that they're hungry so they can be outside. So their parent, we want to help provide resources to parents so that there can be food in the home.
Absolutely.
So that so that the parent has to go work third shift, at least there's a pantry that's providing some food so that the children can be in the home. And so our goal, and the reason why I'm here today, is just to offer myself as a community partner to whatever we can do to help make life better for not just the city, but for you, for this city, then I'm willing to help and do so.
Thank you, Pastor Hudson, and you've done that. I'm hearing again, Ms. Claire, right here. I just want to tell you, first of all, thank you for taking out your time. You offer a pantry. You're offering a summer camp. I've even seen where you offer Friday night events for the teens.
Yes.
Again, if we build it, they will come, and so it's important that you don't just live in a silo on Parish. It's important that the city knows that you're here. You have a very thriving church. You have a lot of people who live right here in North College Hill who attend your church, and so thank you for being present. I really appreciate all that you are doing to choose North College Hill. Ms. Clear and then Ms. Gaston.
Yes, I have a question, and it's based on an observation, and this copious notes, because that's how I process things. I've heard from more than one person rec center. I've also heard there's a lot of foot traffic in our central business district. In terms of volunteering and being able to provide these services, a lot of the business owners have mentioned they'd be willing to help. So it seems to me, as a logistics person, that it would make sense to have something close to the business district. So is that a reasonable extrapolation based on that if it was near you, it'd be easier for you to support it?
Sure,
Or
absolutely.
is that, or where would you think would be a good location around, I know we're landlocked, right? And there's only so much we can do, and there's only so much real estate we have, right? But in terms of capturing the traffic that we're interested in, where roughly do you suggest that we put something that is geared toward the youth?
Well, the business district is definitely a place because that's where they frequent. But a lot of times when you see our youth, you see them walking up and down Hamilton Avenue, or you see them walking up and down Galbraith, or you see them cutting in and out of the alleys that you see around. So anything that they have close proximity to is where they will go and be attracted to. The problem is if we have something that they have to walk way down the street to get to, they probably won't go. They'll just hang out where they're used to. So I think anything that is in close proximity would help, and help the parents also to get there, because the parents need to know where their children are. And that's the key. So, they need to come get them. And of course, there's always liability issues. So if we need to get in contact with a parent, or we need to send the child home, we can do that in close proximity as well.
Right. Ms. Gaston?
So originally, my whole hope for coming and joining today was to talk about an ordinance, but I just wanted to introduce that we want to look at things that are a little more strict, and I'm hoping that I can work with our mayor so that we can get this ball rolling before the end of school year. But I just wanted to thank Pastor Hudson again. As you had stated, he has been a pillar in the community. I will pick up the phone and ask him a question. It's always a yes. So hearing from you about what you answered for Ms. Clear about proximity, again, they are over that way. So I appreciate that perspective. I have children, I drive around, but we're trying to figure out what is the best case scenario. Rome was not built in one day, so it's going to take time. It's going to take money.
Madam Chair.
So I appreciate you adding that, and hopefully here in the next couple of weeks or a couple of days, we'll be able to talk about an ordinance and move forward with that piece. So we have goals.
Ms. Gaston, thank you for sharing that. Did you still want to move forward with introducing your ordinance this evening?
At this time, I want to piggyback with our mayor.
Okay.
I did do a lot of research on Section 509, and I just kind of want to connect with judges and things of that nature who can give us firsthand information on what is enforceable. Because again, we could talk about it, but we got to be about it, and we got to be about it correctly, not just throwing things out there because we want to do something fast. We want to do it right. So
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
That speaks to your character and who you
Madam
are.
Chair.
So thank you. Yes.
I would just like to say, I think your ideas about around a rec center are interesting. So in the business district, what I would like to impart or just kind of educate is that even though it is a busy area, for that very reason, we kind of want to pull youth out of that area because we want to do things in our business district because we have the weight on our shoulders as a city to do appropriate economic development. So things like a DORA district, marking something, a DORA district would inhibit having a rec center in the center of town. So if you look around to other cities, you see them kind of pulled out, like CRC. You used to work for CRC, and you notice that they're actually pulled out of those spaces. For example, the one up by UC, there was a lot of great debate on, do you put it on the main road because you were getting so much traffic on Martin Luther King, and they decided to replace it kind of back up in the community to encourage the safety of children, and so that children of all ages could attend and participate at the programming of those type of the CRC recreational centers.
Sure, and I understand that, but what I mean by near, I mean near and not necessarily in close proximity, because they have to be able to walk to them. For instance, in my community, I grew up in North Fairmount. We were able to walk from our houses to the community center and walk from our community center to the house.
Absolutely.
Or if I work downtown in Lincoln Center. Lincoln Center is right across from City West. So they had the opportunity to go. They didn't have to go downtown Cincinnati to be able to be there. So when I mean proximity, is at least somewhere that they would have foot traffic to be able to go. When they leave school, they need a place that they can go to rather quickly to be able to, because if we provide tutoring, say for instance, our church, if we open our fellowship hall, they need tutoring, they need after school programs, but they need to be able to get there from school. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be in the business district, but at least somewhere in close proximity.
Right.
Madam
and
Chair.
I think to that also to that same point, I mean, I definitely believe that we are responsible for building up the economy of our business district. But at this state in time, which weighs more, getting something for our youth or a DORA district? I'm going to go with that we need to have something for our youth. Yes, we need to develop and build up our economy of our businesses. Of course, we most certainly need to support them. But I think in this current climate, Dora District are having something for our youth to go to help mitigate some of the crime, to let them know they got Auntie Anthony, Auntie Andrea, Mama Chappelle, and others available, Mama Linda and others available. I think that really weighs more on the current climate of North College Hill. Not to say we can't visit Dora in the future, but right now it's a different time for our city. And I think our focal point as a council, and I can't tell everyone how to vote or how to do anything at all, I would never, but I strongly believe that as we think about our future selves, what do we want to say that we did while serving on this council?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to state, piggybacking off of our city administrator, well, number one, we will support the businesses.
Yes.
Regardless, that is something that we are going to do. But CCDR, our committee, is working towards having our outdoor fitness center, which will be kind of in a high traffic area where it's free. People can come and they can work out and do things of that nature. And I think that's going to be a big testament to where students want to go. Will we have a lot of foot traffic there? Will we have people going there for recreation, so on and so forth? So as we move towards that goal and having that win for the city, I think we'll be able to better figure out where a rec center.
And I think you have to offer an alternative. And when I say that, I mean, they don't have to go to Burger King and fight if they have a place quickly to go to get food.
Yes.
Or they don't have to go to McDonald's and cause trouble if someone is offering them not only recreation, not only tutoring, not only education, but also we're not going to bring them there and not feed them. Because the problem is if you bring them there and not feed them, they're not going to be able to concentrate on what they're doing because they're hungry. So you want to bring them, you want to meet the need at the same time as providing an alternative. They will walk past Burger King and come to where the rec center, or not even, I'm not calling it the rec center because it can be anything. It can be where we are. It could be our church. It could be the New Life. It could be any church that's providing just services for them. But you want to have something that intersects where they possibly could go and give them a better alternative so that they won't be lost in the sauce. Because what's going to happen is if they don't, then you're going to have a crowd at Burger King. They're in Burger King. They see someone that they don't like. Now they fight.
Right.
But they're really just originally there to get a burger.
Right.
But if you feed them somewhere, it will help them to have an alternative so that they won't have to go far to be able to get the services that they need.
Council, anything else for Mr. Dr. Hudson before I called you doctor? Your pastor.
It's coming.
Yes, it is coming.
Amen.
Anything else for him, Council? Administration, anything else for him? Okay. Thank you so much, Pastor Hudson,
Thank you for
being
your time.
here. And then we are about 32 minutes over. I am actually going to ask if there are any final comments. There are a few other topics that I wanted to cover, but they're a little bit lengthy, so I don't want to touch on them this evening. But I just want to save space, if there's any old business for this committee. Okay. Administration, the old business.
I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that in the packet is the code enforcement monthly report, the fire monthly report, and the police monthly report.
Thank you for that. We appreciate that. And any new business that we want to touch on this evening?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So as we discussed multiple times this evening, there is some legislation that is coming out, and I just want to make sure that both public safety and CCDR, we have our roles identified for how we're going to complete these tasks. So we can do it offline or we can do it at the CCDR meeting just to talk about how we're going to move things forward, because we want to be actionable, take everything that was said tonight and make a legitimate plan that's going to be successful for our city.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, everyone who is still here. We appreciate you for coming out. If you ever need to reach us, we are accessible. I am at Kate Curitan at northcollegehill.org. And I think for most of us, it's our first initial of our first name and our last name, except for Miss Clear is a.clear at northcollegehill.org. If we can do anything to serve you, because that's why we're here. We're all elected to serve you all. So if there's anything that we can do to serve you all, please don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. Thank you all.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
It was me, sorry. If you could just point out, all of our email addresses are on the website.
Yes. That
Because
is
I
correct.
think mine's a little unique also.
Yes, it is. You're right.
It's
All of
MJ's,
our email addresses are on our city's website, and it's northcollegehill.org, right? So all of our information is there. Feel free to reach out. I think majority of us are pretty accessible anytime or what have you. And we are your neighbors. Again, we are here to serve you, and we cannot do this alone. So we are ending our meeting at 8:34 p.m. Thank you.